Hello and welcome to Life Harmony Talk with Business Leaders. The Life Harmony Talk is an initiative that drives the conversation around sustainable performance by encouraging leaders in business to embrace harmony of life within themselves while contributing to harmony of life within our planet. I'm Jesmine Onyeukwu, the host of the talk, and this talk has been brought to you by the Organizing Academy. This first series is in celebration of Mother Earth Day 2020 and is supported by the Global Institute for Conscious Economics. Thank you for tuning in. Please join my guests as they share their stories and strategies around finding and embracing harmony of life.
Hello and welcome to the Life Harmony Talk with Business Leaders. I am super excited to be here today. My name is Jesmine. I'm the founder of the Organizing Academy and the convener of this initiative. I started the Life Harmony Talk to bring business leaders together in a place where they can share insights with and for one another in ways that can help us find harmony of life within ourselves so that we can contribute towards harmony of life within our ecosystem. And I'm happy to have with me here in the room TeLisa. She's an amazing woman, and I'm going to do a brief introduction of her and let her jump right in and share with us a little bit about herself. So TeLisa Daughtry is an award-winning diversity and tech advocate, 10 times serial social entrepreneur, investor, keynote speaker, author, multidisciplined creative and technologist, and disruptor. She is the founder and CTO of mobile app called Technista, an impact investor at Femex Ventures. And as an entrepreneur, mentor, and advocate, she is passionate about creating solutions to empower women, youth, and underrepresented groups to participate in technology and entrepreneurship. This woman has built several technology solutions and developed initiatives supported by the White House. Very long resume. I couldn't exhaust all of it within the few minutes I have to do this introduction. So I'm going to welcome TeLisa and let her share a bit about herself. Welcome, TeLisa, to the Life Harmony Talk.
Hi, Jesmine. Thanks for having me. Yay. Really excited to be here. I wanted to first thank you for organizing this talk and reorganizing this talk. It's so important that we have, these questions around, leadership during this, especially, and how mindfulness and planning and all of these things can make it a little bit more bearable during these times. So really excited to be here.
Thank you so much. Share with us a bit about your day. How has your day been? How has it been going so far, especially with the current crisis?
Right. So it's been pretty slow for the morning, but now the afternoon is picking up a bit. Where I am in Boston, it's really rainy. It's been rainy for the past week, which is a good thing because it's really helping people with the social distancing and staying home. So that's a good thing. But yeah, so that's how my day has been so far, and it's not probably going to end until this evening. So just really looking forward to finally feeling productive, because we know that that's actually a challenge right now. Like, a lot of people are struggling with, do we stay productive or do we just acknowledge what's going on? Like, there are days that I definitely straddle between that, feeling like I don't want to be a productivity monster for the sake of just being busy, I'm really huge on not being busy for the sake of being busy. So that's how my day has been going. So when I feel the need to get business done, I get it done. When I feel the need to recharge and replenish myself, I do that as well.
Talking about being busy, you have a very tight resume. You have a long list of accolades and accomplishments and things that you've been able to do within your years of being an entrepreneur. Very inspiring. I just want you to share with us what one of your most remarkable accomplishments has been so far.
So, Technista was my seventh venture. Yeah, it was my, I'm on 10. So Fly Technista was my 7th venture, and it was my very first tech startup. Ironically, like I've been in tech for 21 years now. 22? Wow, 22? Oh my God. So I've been in tech, working in tech since, been in tech since 1998, from education to employment. And for me, I would say the biggest accomplishment in my career so far has definitely been, and most rewarding. So I wouldn't even say most accomplishment, like the most rewarding thing that I've done with my skills and my abilities been building Fly Technista. And I would definitely say that because the impact that it continues to have on women and girls' lives and educators and communities, and just, the opportunities that I don't know if it would have existed for a lot of people, like future possibilities for them, employment opportunities, their girls' ability to want to learn code or STEM or these things. So I would definitely say that has been my greatest success. Like, I've done a lot of things, as you mentioned, in partnership with the White House. That was a huge accomplishment for me with the Obama administration. That really propelled my journey as a tech entrepreneur in creating solutions for our society, which enabled me to go on to partnering and working with the United Nations for the Sustainable Development Goals, as well as rolling out our Computer Science for All initiative across the Northeast region in the US. It's just been really incredible. And I mean, all of these things afforded me the opportunity to be a fellow at Windsor Castle. So there's so many things that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for me pursuing my passion of connecting women and girls in tech through Fly Technista. Well, so that has been my definite accomplishment.
I love how you relaunch the accomplishments with ease. Like, these are heavy, weighty things that you've accomplished, or you call them like they're just a walk in the park, simple things that you've accomplished on your journey. But girl, those are very significant milestones that I'm very proud of.
Thank you. But like, I'm proud of it as well. But like, when I think of that stuff, it's like, that's just a bonus on the cake. For me, it's always been impact. So, I mean, it's not like those things don't matter. Like, we can't get impact without doing the work. So, I mean, like, it all comes from the work first. So I'm happy that those things had led me to those places, but none of that would have been possible without work. So
we have one thing in common. In fact, two, we have young and female leadership in common. I am very passionate about young leadership and female leadership. I just want you to give few words of encouragement to women out there who are doubting themselves, who don't see the need to step in and step out. Using your own experience with the work you're doing with Fly Technista, bringing women to explore the different, the diverse potentials that they carry within. Share with women why it is important for us to step into the place of leadership, to blaze the trails around us, to create new paths, to carve new ways for people, for us, and for others coming behind us to do the things that we've been terrified for so long to do. So share with me how important it is.
Right. I believe women in leadership and women stepping into our leadership capabilities and abilities is very important and essential to the growth, the stability, and the vitality of our society. Like, it's very, very important. I don't think that enough people understand the power and the presence of women in leadership. So even if we look at right now during this crisis, there are many women at the front lines of this crisis, whether they're serving as board members or chief of staffs at hospitals right now, if they're serving in the triage and the ER, and policy making around their countries for closing and opening, women at the front line of STEM right now, and in the health tech and healthcare industries and spaces. So women have always been at the forefront of change in our society. Like, whenever there is a problem, there's a woman trying to create a solution for it, trying to figure out how they can ease and make not businesses, but society better for each other. And there's an actual study that shows that when women create businesses, we create businesses, 90% of our businesses better society, right? Just off of the top. So it's not just a financial perspective why women might pursue business or entrepreneurship or leadership, but there is a balance that women bring when we go to the table of leadership. So my biggest concern and why I'm so passionate about empowering women in leadership and their visibility of women in leadership, as well as encouraging women in maybe male-dominated spaces, is what does our society look like if women and girls are not participating, and underrepresented groups in general are not participating in these spaces? What kinds of businesses won't exist? What kinds of solutions won't be solved, like created? What kinds of like problems in our society that will just, you know, not be solved? So that's literally why I do the work I do, what keeps me up at night, and what makes me so passionate about having women and girls as leaders and the visibility of them in these spaces. Like, our society needs masculine and feminine energy, and women can bring strength, we can bring grace, we can bring so many valuable skills in our skill sets, not just from nurturing, but other powerful things that we can bring to the table. So I think is really important for women to show up as leaders. And even when we don't feel the confidence to be leaders, or to think of ourselves as leaders as men will think of themselves as leaders, think of yourself like when you're, whether you are a stay-at-home mom or you work from home or you don't have exactly an established title within an organization that says leader, there are so many ways that we embody leadership, whether that's through creating collaboration amongst our team members, organizing how our house runs. Like, there's so many ways that women show up as leaders that doesn't have the title leader or CEO or executive or VP, because we literally are all of that of our lives and our family life most of the time.
Wonderful. Incredible insights. I love what you said about that blend between the masculine and the feminine. So what I keep saying when we're pushing female leadership to men is that we're not here trying to extinguish the men. We're not here trying to take out the men. We're saying let's tap into the reservoir of potentials and knowledge that women have that have not been tapped into yet. If you knew there were some great potentials within this group of people, don't you want to explore that? Isn't it what your humanity would require of you? So that's what we're saying when we're pushing for female leadership, young leadership, underrepresented communities. Let's reach out.
It brings balance to our society.
Wow. It's to help all of us thrive. It's to help all of us reach that place, of greatness.
Right.
Yeah, wonderful. I love how from just sharing about your accomplishments, I noticed something, which is something I think that not many female entrepreneurs do. In fact, not many entrepreneurs do. As entrepreneurs, we tend to wear our achievements as badges of honor. We tend to wear the work that we do as, our sense of identity, and which takes away from our health and well-being. I want you to share about the concept of detachment from platforms. And I'm going to tell you a story. Sometime I was at an event. After the event ended, it was a great event. The convener of the event, which is a great female entrepreneur that I respect, was asked what the highlight of that event was for her. And I was touched. It was an incredible day. A lot of people were impacted. And she said, well, the highlight for me is that I finally get to speak on my own stage. I finally get to speak on my own stage. I've never had the opportunity to do that. And I was looking at her and saying, oh, how? How about the people's lives who have been impacted? That should be more like the highlight for you as opposed to the stage, because you're never guaranteed the stage. You could have the stage today and lose it tomorrow. Right. Stage doesn't matter. What matters is the impact, like you said. So I just want you to throw more light on why it is important for us to learn to detach just a little bit from our work and the tools or the platforms that we use to carry out our work, so that we can maintain a healthy sense of self and well-being.
Right. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that most people establish their identity in society from what they do in society. So whether that be, what school they went to, what industry they work in, what companies they work for, what titles and rankings that they hold within these organizations, what professional organizations they come from. And ultimately what made me be more mindful of these things around our collective identities that are given to us through society. Like, we might have successful as a label on us because of what school we went to or what companies we work for. We might have non-successful if we work somewhere else and didn't go to a certain school, right? So for me, quickly understanding that I am so much more than what I do for work, where I work at, and what school helped me to get into that, or what school I didn't go to that possibly like may have not allowed me the same opportunities, right? So being mindful of identity, my sense of identity comes from my purpose. My sense of identity comes from the value that I bring to the things that I do. And it took me about 3 or so years, I would say maybe in 5 years into my career, that I was finally able to align my skills, my passion, and my purpose to the things that I wanted to add to our society. Because when I first joined into the workforce, I was a believer of my identity came from what company or what title I had and what position I was doing, right? So I realized that that was very unfulfilling for me. While there was a paycheck that was always waiting for me because of the value that I was adding to the company, there was no emotional paycheck for me. Like I felt like my work had no sense of worth. It had no sense of real purpose. It added value to the company as far as meeting their margins and bottom lines and bottom dollar, but it didn't really translate into a space of my emotional paycheck that I needed. And, you know, I'm really fortunate that, you know, as a millennial, we have been able to shape that experience for people entering the workforce after us. Millennials entered the workforce so demanding with clear expectation that we wanted our work to be in line with the things that we care about, that we wanted it to have an impact, that we wanted, so it wasn't previously where other generations had entered the workforce, they literally had to work just to make a check. So it didn't matter if they liked what they did or not. They were often, you know, just happy to be working and they'll figure everything else after. But we do know the statistic shows that 68% of people had not had job satisfaction. And they have not had job satisfaction because they were at organizations they didn't believe in, working for, you know, there was no sense of mission, vision, or purpose within their lives. So literally people just show up for the paycheck. And when you have employees show up for the paycheck, that doesn't really help the bottom line of the company because it also creates higher turnover, right? If they're just showing up for a paycheck, but there's no emotional paycheck there for them. So I'm really grateful to be a millennial, to be able to help shape that, you know, that experience for now. There are so many companies that are aligning their mission, vision, and purpose with the types of people they hire, the types of opportunities they provide internally. So I don't feel that being an entrepreneur is the only way that I could achieve what's in alignment with my mission, vision, and purpose. If I wanted to go back into corporate, I will always look for something that is in alignment with my mission, vision, and my purpose. So, you know, a lot of my identity and sense of fulfillment and joy and content with what I do comes from me not only just doing the things that I love. I mean, we can't always do what we love 24/7, but it's always, it's more than less than. So it's more I'm doing what I love, even if it's at a company I don't like, or maybe I like the company, but I don't like the role. You know, finding the balance between that and knowing that if I leave this organization, I'm not leaving my title or my value or my identity. I'm just leaving the organization. Those things stay intact with me. So whether I'm not employed, whether I am employed, whether I'm an entrepreneur, whether I'm a contractor, my identity is still intact because, you know, my mission, vision, and my values doesn't come from an organization, and my identity doesn't come from my title or my salary, but the work that I provide in society. So
wow, incredible. So great point. If people only knew that entrepreneurship requires bearing a whole lot of risks, you're going to carry the risk. But when you work with an organization, what you're essentially doing is aligning with somebody who's going to mitigate most of the risk for you. So I tell people, feel like a leader wherever you are, whether you're running your own thing and carrying all the risk, or you're sharing, you're aligning with somebody, feel like a leader. It's not the platform that defines whether you lead, is how you serve and how you show up every day that defines how you lead. Up to my next question, you said something, I watched a lot of your interviews. You always drop bombs on those interviews, a lot of wisdom. So you said something in one of your interviews where you said, you know, you charge your mobile phones. You care to do that regularly, but you're not attending to your body. How many times are you intentional and sensitive about your body. So, and it's something I know that entrepreneurship can take away from that sense of physical well-being and recharging and taking care of ourselves. I want you to share, based on your personal experience, how what you do, whether it's something as simple as checking how long you sleep every day, just collecting that
Right.
data about your sleep, collecting the data about your meals, what you're eating, how active you're getting. Share with me what works for you when it comes to physical well-being.
So as far as my balancing out my physical well-being and just finding balance in my life so I can show up for myself as a leader and recharging myself, I put 3 things in place. So I keep several different journals. Journaling has definitely helped. I started a gratitude journal back in 2009, which was actually a jar at the time. And then it has evolved into an actual journal that I physically write in. And then I also prioritize and organize my day. And then the third thing I do is I have support communities. So having these 3 things in place allows me to recharge myself. So in addition to the gratitude journal, I started keeping a stress journal because I suffered severe founder burnout in 2017 due to a lot of things. Like you said, my resume is really long, and a lot of that comes from the year 2015 through 2017. So I was doing all the things everyone thought, oh my God, TeLisa is killing it. But in reality, all the things that I was doing was killing me. So I ended up in the emergency room 3 times in 1 month of October 2017. And I just remember thinking to myself, I can't live like this. I can't, like, I'm on my own self-imposed deadlines, essentially. No one is holding me to the things that I feel obligated to do. Like, it literally was me overextending my energy to help other founders around me, and me trying to make every media publication appearance I could because I wanted the visibility, and me trying to roll out several different products to be competitors. So there was a lot of things that went into the contribution of my burnout, and then also juggling family life, right? So you're balancing personal, you're balancing your professional, and like it all collided, and it was just way too much for me. And then not doing the work was too much for me, but not having a structure in place didn't allow for me to pour back into myself. So I'm literally depleted. My cups are depleted. I poured into my business. I poured into friendships. I poured into partnerships and clients and customers and all of these things. And I had an empty cup, and like nothing was fueling me. So when I look back on my gratitude journal at the time, I also realized that I wasn't writing my stresses, like the things that were causing me to feel stressed and inadequate or insufficient or these things. And then when I started journaling my stress, I was able to better cope, deal, and understand with it. So I don't want to say cope. Because coping is like you accept that something is the way it is. I was better able to tackle my stresses and understand them and understand my triggers that brought me to certain things. So keeping a stress journal, I can see how has that affected my sleep? How does that affect my ability to show up for myself professionally or personally in my relationships? And then also the ability of knowing, like, this is my breaking point. Whenever this thing happened, it triggers this thing. So being able to have like a stress journal is dramatically transformed my life even now, because I mean, right now we're in a crisis. And it's not that I'm like so chill and so peaceful and things are not happening. It's just now that I have better tools to deal and understand and prevent the stresses that will cause me to be triggered and not operational and emotional and depressed, right? Because, you know, depression, when not dealt with, and trauma that's not dealt with creates it creates you don't get to show up as yourself. And when we don't deal with our traumas, it just is often triggered by something else. So for me, doing these 3 things, having a gratitude journal, a stress journal, a sleep journal, to understand like why my patterns have been off like most people's during this time of the crisis. And I don't know if that's intentional or if it's just something that we're all going through because we're all feeling the same energy of I wouldn't say worry, but discomfort, right? We're all going through a energy of discomfort, and it's causing our rest to be disturbed. And we know that our rest is essential and important to us being productive, you know, and to be at peace and all of these things. And then also just on a health level, right? When we don't sleep, our immune system is weakened. So I've been more mindful. I even invested in a lavender mattress so I can sleep better. So during this time, like, it's really important. These are the three things that that I do that pour back into me. And having the support communities allows me to not vent, because it's a space where no one should be carrying anyone else's burdens, but it's a place to be transparent, to get feedback, to share authentically how I'm feeling, how I'm dealing with things. And, you know, hopefully someone can provide solutions, but that's not really what it's for. It's literally just for support. And oftentimes the support groups that I've been a part of, I've either created myself or aligned myself with things that feed me. So I don't align myself with communities that don't feed me. So that's the second thing. And prioritizing and organizing my day. I'm naturally like an organizer. So, but I know for a fact that when I don't have a schedule in place, I don't get the things done. And I've been seeing the result of that over the last 3 weeks of trying to shift and pivot a lot of things. Is like, what does my schedule now look like? I still don't fully understand what does my schedule look like, because the days are so varying. There are so many, but the ability to have a schedule and organization in place is, it allows for me to procrastinate when I need to, for be still when I need to, for know that when I need to pour back into myself, I have the time to do that. And so, yeah, having those three things help.
I'm going to recap on those three things because they're vital. Every leader needs to hear. We had this conversation, and I told you I came up with an acronym for those three things. I call it GPS of your refueling and restoring yourself as a leader. So it's the GPS of restoration of what we're going to find a way to put it in a very good context so that we can actually trademark that. So you talk about gratitude, key, because sometimes you need to reflect on the milestones that you've accomplished already. And those moments of reflection can create a sense of well-being just by looking at how far you've come and saying, I'm still in the game. Like, I survived all the failures and all the struggles, and I've had some major wins. It has a huge part to play in how you feel about yourself, and it's going to affect you on both in the mental and in the physical state. Then you talk about the prioritization, just understanding your schedule, understanding how to make time, block out time for downtime. You need to be intentional at times, and I'm not doing nothing. I'm just going to be chilling this time. I'm not going to be active. I'm not going to be doing, quote unquote, the type of productivity that society knows, like get stuff done, get stuff done. I'm just going to not be trying to get anything done. Then you talk about the support system, having a place where sometimes we just need an outlet, TeLisa. Sometimes we just need listening ears, people who share our experiences or share similar experiences with us, who can hear us out. That's all our human nature needs. Just somebody who can
just someone to hear you.
Just someone to listen to all my, ranting and all of that kind of stuff. So that's where the support community comes in, where we just go have this freedom to pour out all your struggles and have people to say, hey, virtual hugs and kisses and all that kind of stuff can help us feel a whole. Then you said something. I'm going to another question, and I'm going to draw it from what you said. You talked about the tool for handling the struggle. We all struggle. I make this very clear to my customers, my clients. I am struggling because some of them see me from the other side of the screen and feel like, oh, you figured it out. You are an organizing expert. You get it. You know how to manage your time. And I say, I still struggle. I have limitations in many ways. But what I'm trying to do is to ensure that my struggles don't lead to suffering, which is where a lot of entrepreneurs, we suffer a lot because we don't handle the struggles, and we let the struggles now graduate or translate to sufferings, and you don't have to suffer. You can deal with your struggles, you can deal with your struggles if you have the right tools. And one of the tools I've come to realize is that consciousness tool, just having a higher sense of self will do all the magic in the world that all the productivity systems and apps will not do for you. Just having that consciousness of who you are in the world. So I just want you to share a bit. I know this question is off the radar, but share a bit. Okay, what's work you've done, what mindset work, what self-work you've done on yourself to get you to come to the place of a heightened sense of consciousness about who you are and how you show up every day in the world.
Right. So I believe that you can't achieve wisdom without experience, and you can't get experience without lessons. You can't get the lessons without hardship, right? So when you go through these progressions of wisdom, experience, lessons, hardships, like people want the wisdom, but they don't want the hardship that brings them. And I often share, I was just sharing this the other night when I was saying how, you know, I was meditating on, I wanted more growth and expansion in my life. And that came via hardships and loss. So it wasn't, you can't achieve these things without going through the other things. It's like people want the abs, but they don't want the workout. They don't want the discipline of the diet. They don't want all of these things. And you can't achieve wellness, mindfulness, consciousness without being intentional about what you're pouring into yourself on a mental and spiritual level, and then also actions and your behaviors. And then I would say lastly, your language. Like I'm really big on reframing your language around how you speak to yourself, how you speak to others, the things that you speak into existence. So when I think of struggle, you know, it's not that I don't go through struggle. It's just I don't let my struggle manifest into something that doesn't benefit my life. So, you know, I reframe my language around struggle. I don't speak struggle. Like I tell people, I don't speak struggle. If you don't want struggle in your life, don't speak the struggle. Don't do that. So, you know, you can go through difficult times, you can go through hardships, but you can say, oh, well, we never really know how our hardships are going to shape us or what opportunities they'll provide. We don't know that, but we can also hope like, okay, this is temporary, or, you know, like we can reevaluate how the lessons that we're learning when we're going through the hardships. And I mean, sometimes that's really hard when you're going through maybe a financial loss, maybe a physical loss. You lost a loved one. Maybe you lost your home. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you lost all four of these things, right? Because that is a real reality. So I wouldn't say that's struggle, that's loss, that's lessons, and it's hardships, right? So how then do you show up for yourself after a loss, after losing any of those things? You lose a child, you lose a pet, whatever it is, how can we still show up for ourselves? One, again, consciousness and mindfulness for me has come from a space of gratitude and reflection. So not feeling entitled to the things that I have in my life or entitled to titles, but gratitude for opportunities, gratitude for growth, gratitude for lessons. So having that be my ultimate mindset shifts me, empowers me. It allows me to, you know, not lose hope when I am going through those dark things. Because if you have a sense of gratitude, a sense of inner peace, a sense of understanding that this is not happening to me, this is happening for me, you can overcome these things. So I believe it's really, really important to have at least a sense of mindfulness at the bare, and anything can have mindfulness. I mean, like anything that's here has conscious. Like you're not alive if you don't have conscious. But, you know, spiritual growth, consciousness, all of these things, that's a choice. And it's commitment, and it's effort, and it's intentional. It doesn't just happen. Like you have to allow yourself to grow into the spaces that you want to rise to. So it's real.
Wow. I love how you said you try not to be entitled to titles. And again, where you pointed out that consciousness is not a destination, it's a journey. You're going to be walking that journey until you exit the scene here. So it's something that you keep doing. Sometimes I sit with myself and I ask myself, what updates do I need? I need to update some things. I mean, if I update my iPhone and update my computers, I was just
will let you know when you need to do an update to yourself. They'll let you know by when you keep hitting roadblocks. And like, think of our devices. When our devices no longer can operate on the operating system that is on it, what happens? It freezes, it shuts down, it overheats. The same thing for our physical body and our spiritual body. When we are in a space that we need to grow or do our updates, we'll hit blockages, we'll hit all kinds of things that will allow us to not function in our highest and greatest self. So yeah, it's really important to acknowledge and see that.
To acknowledge those triggers and take actions and make sure.
Right.
You shared something with me about digital transformation. I want you to share, since you're in the tech space, for any female leaders or any business leaders listening, the place of
Right.
the place of tech in the future of work and in the way that we live.
Right.
Should we be terrified? Because I know for every advancement, for every innovation, there are pros and cons. Where should
Right.
we be terrified or grateful for tech? So share with us what your take is on what the future looks like.
Right. So for the last 5 years, I've been literally what's been the most frustrating, but now super rewarding time. And I mean, like, this is a very uncertain time for a lot of organizations, businesses, startups. It's very uncertain for them, but like, it's also been really good business for me, because like, I've been talking about digital transformation and the future of work and the importance of readying our workforce for this very thing that we're now doing. The fact that we're using telecommunications to work remote, to collaborate with our team members, to work with clients, like, these are all things that I've been helping organizations transition to, and also speaking about the importance of, like, so whether that's online learning, developing a sense of how do you show up for these classes. So I think technology first and foremost should always be looked at as assistance. So for right now, our jobs are safe. Some of our jobs are safe. Some of our jobs are safe. We're not at a space where robots can completely replace us or replace society. And also, even when robots, you know, it takes a human to make it. It's like, until they can make themselves, we are still in control of, you know, manufacturing robots, programming, all of these other things. I mean, there are smart technologies that can program. I'm not going to go too deep into that. But what I will say is that that future of work that I've been talking to organizations about for the last 5 or so years is now. That future is now, it's now, it's now. So it's not 2022. Like, literally, these projections that were made by the U.S. Department of Labor, in the United States. I know this is global, but I'm speaking from this experience on my home territory for the last 5 years, speaking with organizations, telling them that there's going to be 1.4 million tech-related jobs by 2020. Guess what year it is? It's 2020. Guess how many people are prepared? Less than 80%. Less. So that's 20% of our U.S. U.S. workforce is prepared for the jobs that are existing right now. So that's why I do the work I do. That's why I'm passionate about people understanding and knowing how to navigate the digital workforce, the landscape, utilizing technology to further their businesses. So I would definitely say that, you know, technology right now is an assistance to us. Think of even the nurses, the scientists who are at the front lines of this pandemic, and the levels of exhaustion that they are facing on a daily basis since this outbreak has happened. And when we're thinking of the scientists who are taking samples, and think of all of these samples that are now being, I don't want to say botched, because I don't think anyone is intentionally mislabeling someone's results, but here's what happens when you're exhausted. The right things don't get done. So literally, this is how technology is coming to our aid. If we're able to have a process that's in place, it mitigates errors and mishaps, and it literally can assist these scientists and doctors in their research, all of these things, right? So whether it be the transferring of documents, like, technology is here to assist us. And even when you're manually putting like a patient's information in an application, you can use certain things like robotic process automation to do that. And if you're looking at all of these like patient data, you're now not lost because you've been overwhelmed looking at the screen for hours and hours of doing this. So these are ways that technology is assisting us, whether it be in the health tech industry, but then as far as grocery stores right now, like, you know, in Massachusetts, we have robots who are now picking out grocery lists for shoppers, because they're trying to eliminate the amount of people that are in grocery stores and the transferring of the virus, right? So we will continue to see more of that happen. Another thing that we're seeing happen as far as, you know, technology in the future of work, you know, up to 7 weeks ago, a lot of people were going into organizations on a daily basis to do exactly what they're doing right now at home. And, you know, when companies are realizing that they're now saving significant amount of money by not having their employees come into a physical location, but rather allowing them to bring their equipment home and do the work from home. Like, it literally shifts the way we're working, the way we think about what a workspace should be. Like, and then what does that look like for commercial real estate in the future if we have more people who are working remote? Like, right? So is it more residences? Do our residences now become something else? Are they larger because more people have to do more work from home? Like, what types of people get to go into a physical location for work? So whether that's, librarians or doctors, people who work at a hospital, and even as far as institutions, who knows what institutions might look like if you're not in a specialized field that you need to be in a physical space, because our physical spaces are going to change as a result of how we're working, how we're living, and what industries we all are in. So I'm really excited for the future of work. I'm excited to see all of these things be applied and rolled out. And I mean, assisting organizations and startups with digital transformation, that's helping them to understand how they can better, smarter, faster do the work that they're doing with their teams by themselves. And I mean, as a solo entrepreneur, when you're aware of the digital tools and resources that you have, you're better able to do all the things. It's not that, people look at solo founders and like, wow, I don't know how you can do all the things. Like, if you know how to use technology well, you can do all the things. So, people are asking me, how am I online? How am I doing this webinar? How am I doing all these things at the same time? I'm like, because TeLisa uses a chat bot. TeLisa auto schedules her tweets or whatever she's sending out. You're probably talking to TeLisa's AI right now. So I'm using all these ways to make my life easy and my life simplified, so I'm not burning myself out. So these are tools and resources that we can use to allow us to do our work better and be connected together. And telecommunications is huge. It's been going up since it's been happening. So really excited.
I want to try to recap what you just said in the past few minutes. You talked about the fact that as we continue to evolve as a human race, sorry, let me remove this thing. Okay. That as we continue to evolve as a human race, our problems become more complex, and we need more complex solutions for the complex problems. So for that reason, we need technology to assist us so that we can simplify our lives better and have more accuracy rates and do life in a way that is less stressful on our human nature. So I think the pros are way higher than the cons here. I do of course know that there are cons, but I want to look at it from that place of gratitude again, being a tool for improved well-being. Let's be grateful for technology and what you said about change being the only constant in life. And us opening up to adapting. If there are new ways to do something that you've known to do since forever, just open up yourself to learn the new ways of doing all things so that you don't get disrupted. Yeah. I mean, if it's there, learn it. Learn a new skill, adapt to it before you are forced to do that. That's what I take from everything you said.
Right. And that's literally the same thing with our previous discussion around consciousness and upgrading our systems. Like, when we don't do the upgrades on our own, we're forced to through lessons and hardships and things breaking down. So I mean, the same thing with work. Whatever was not working for you before is not going to work for you now, and whatever did work for you before might not work now because we're at another level of just different things. So yeah, I continuously want to make sure that our workforce globally is prepared for the jobs of the future.
All right, now to my next question. Thank you for that. What are your words on the importance of collaboration and building communities around our different industries around the work that we do, and bringing in that concept of stakeholder capitalism while trying as much as we can to fix the broken shareholder system? What's your take on how people can come together, collaborate, how organizations can open up their platforms to help people feel more empowered, to empower every single stakeholder in the system? What's your take on
that? Right. As far as collaboration, I'm huge on it. I mean, even as being a solo founder, people think, oh, as an entrepreneur, but previously there are things that I built with other people and there are things that I built by myself. But ultimately, I'm a fan of collaboration because you're able to recognize and acknowledge your strengths and your weaknesses when you have the right people around you, right? So we can't do all the things, we can't do everything. And I think that's people's biggest mistake. So whether it be an organization, whether that comes from a leader who is so hands-on that they don't trust the people that they hire to do the thing that they ask them to do. So that, trust and trust goes with collaboration. You can't collaborate with people that you don't trust, right? You can't work with people that you don't trust. There needs to be your business, whether it's your customers, whether it's your employees, you have to have a level of trust that makes them feel confident that they're going to get done, or you're going to get done what they need you to get done. So for me, collaboration has always been a pro because, you can do more. You can do, so not just faster and quicker, but you can do, again, like the assisting of technology. Collaboration is like the human level of assistance. It's like we can get there faster together more than I can do this by myself, and we can get more done. So that's the bigger thing. It's just like, yeah, you can make 2 cakes or 5 cakes by yourself, but you could probably make 20 if you had other hands helping you, right? Everyone, there's a flow to it. So I'm huge on collaboration. And what does that mean, for larger companies, smaller companies, startups, whatever it is, collaboration will help you achieve it. So, we often see people businesses like startups can fail because they don't have the right people around them, right? Organizations can crumble if there's not the right people in the organization. So we are a people-driven society. There's not anything that we've done, that we've built, that we want to accomplish that doesn't require people, the assistance of people. There's nothing. Like nothing gets done without people, plain and simple. So collaboration for me is a no-brainer. And, it's so important that as a leader that you're able to not, again, it goes back to the point of not everyone is operating from a title of leadership, but anyone can lead at any level. So allowing, when you're a leader and you're working within yourself and you're able to pour back into others, they're able to step up and rise up into leadership abilities and their respective roles or their operations within an organization or as a startup. It really doesn't matter. But when you are a leader, you should be invested and investing in others around you so that they can rise and grow and lead, and you can have the confidence and the trust to let them do what they need to do to further build your business.
Wow. I'm going to recap. I'm trying to recap because you share a lot of insights. I'm trying to make it as much as easier for the audience to quickly take the notes and run with it. You did talk about investing in people and understanding that people carry purpose, platforms don't. So all your technology, all your commercial real estate, all the infrastructure that you have, it's not what carries the life wire of your business. The life of your business lives in human beings, and doing everything you can as a leader in business, regardless of the size of your enterprise or your organization, has to be people-centered, has to be focused on people, on developing leaders, because we need more leaders. Leadership without titles, leadership by service, leadership by just showing up every day to solve the problem of another person. That's what you're saying, what I understand you're saying. Thank you so much for those great words. I want you to leave your final words with any entrepreneurs who are going to catch this live or replay. What are your final words on how entrepreneurs can contribute to making our world a better place while also taking care of themselves? We don't want people who are going to be building legacies and not living long to see those things actualized. We want people, we want you to stay here for longer, entrepreneurs. We don't want you to be burning out. We don't want you to, there are lots of life-threatening issues that are going on in the entrepreneurial ecosystem that we want to address. So leave your final words for those powerful legacy building, empire building entrepreneurs who are trying to change the world, how they can contribute to changing our world while taking care of themselves as well.
Right. So, I'm really big on legacy, and we talked about empire and how you don't get to have a legacy if you don't start with the empire first, right? Empire is while you're here, is what people know you for, is what you're good at, is all of these things. The legacy is what you've done with the thing that you did and what people remember you for. So both of these things kind of need to work. They absolutely need to work together. Not kind of, they absolutely need to work together, and they do work together. For me, I've always been, again, back to impact. Impact creates legacy, creates empire. That is the thread between both of these things. And for me, what makes me portion out the things that I've done or do, or my decision, assist me in my decision making process, is not only having my what's and whys, which is something that you're, as a designer, I was trained in. That's the only way that you can explain your work, what you did and why you're doing it. The client doesn't care about anything else. It doesn't care about your process. It doesn't care about how, it wants to know what you're doing and why you're doing the thing. And I've translated what I've learned, and that from a designer, to pretty much everything else I do in my life, but also from an indigenous quote that I was told years ago, like as a girl, about whatever you do, 10 generations should benefit from. So this is something that resonated with me and stuck with me throughout my life, like my entire life. Like, I think of myself as a teenager thinking, like, how will this affect not just my life in 10 years, but my brothers, my siblings, my cousin, my family. And then when I entered into college, how will this affect me 10 years? How will this affect the jobs? When I start any business, I ask myself, how will this affect 10 generations, like 10 years, whatever it is? Like, I want to know, how will this affect the long term? I'm not a short-sighted person. I always think on a larger scale. Like, even if I don't know the action steps to get to the destination, I still step out because I see the long-term vision of the end point of where I want to be at. So for me, it's really, really, really super important to be mindful that our actions are bigger than just us. Our businesses are bigger than just us. Our impact should be bigger than just us. If we're only impacting ourselves, that's not impact. That's that's me packed, right? So it's self pack. I don't know what to call it, but it's not impact, right? Like, so impact is your outer influence on the thing that you've done, right? So whether your impact, and people think that impact is only on, again, back to this stage. They want to be on the stage, like 50,000 people. That's impact. You know what? Maybe just 50 people that you interact with at work daily. Maybe it's just the 5 people that's on your team. Maybe it's just the 5 people that you have your monthly call with on video. So impact translates so much more, because who we reach always reaches others. So, like, it doesn't stop with us. Like, even if I just have a conversation with you and you share back what I said to you and they share with 3 other people, that's still impact. And people need to think of impact on an interpersonal level as well as an outer personal level. So that's how we can be more mindful to show up as entrepreneurs. What is your what? Like, when I'm advising businesses, that's what I ask them. What is their what and their why? Because your what and your why will carry you through when you don't want to do that business anymore, when the money is not working, your financial model is not working out, when employee number 2 wants to quit, right? So having your what and your why will allow you to be able to pivot if you need to, will allow you to revisit what you're doing and how you're working, will allow you to keep going when you really want to quit. Your what and your why is so important. And I believe that as entrepreneurs, when we are mindful of our what and our whys, the impact of our work, what we want our businesses to be, as well as how will this benefit 10 generations, really? Like, are you going to make an app that will just last, 1 decade? Like, or do you want something that's going to outlive you? And it goes back to that whole thing that they sell you when they're selling insurance. Like, you don't want your money to outlive you. Well, you do want your legacy to outlive you. Like, you want to do your work so well that, dead or alive, that people remember the thing that you've done. And I don't think enough people put that to the forefront of their vision when they're doing things. And I feel like when we all operate from a space of impact, we will have greater impact in our world, in our society, in our own personal lives, because we're affecting and shaping others.
Wow. I was hoping my head doesn't fall off from all the nods and all. Because when I first met you, in closing, when I first met TeLisa, I said to myself, instantly, she is kindred spirit. Like, I could connect with you, but now it's clearer how and why. Like, why I was asking myself why. hearing you talk about longevity, sustainability, building for the long term, thinking of that outer influence and greater impact and results and outcomes for other people beyond yourself, that's where I come from. And sometimes it feels lonely. It feels like you're the only one in that space. Every other person is in the hustle and grind, just get what is mine and
Right.
So
Right. That's not how you operate.
It feels good to find my tribe. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Right. No, I mean seriously, like we're in a space of that, and this is alignment. So whoever watches this conversation, however it's applied to their lives, it was meant to be. So we're building tribe.
Thank you so much. You have a lot of wisdom that I think business leaders can leverage. If they want to reach you, is there a way they can reach you?
Right.
Please share
so
with
the Right. So I would definitely, I'm very much, my social presence is a thing. So I'm very comfortable with people reaching out to me via social channels. I mostly use my LinkedIn and my any other like inquiries as far as how to work with me would be best to go with my website because which is TeLisaD.com, because I definitely have a list of the things I've done, things that I can assist them with, or if they just want to get in touch and say, how can we collaborate together? My email is there. So I would definitely say my email is the best form of communication. One, because I actually check it. It's on all of my phones. As far as my LinkedIn, I removed my social media. I remove my social media from my phone so I can be more productive. So sometimes I don't often see the messages that someone might send me online. But I always see it on my email. So email is the best place, and that's through my website. And but I'm really looking forward and excited to connect with anyone who wants to make this world better, make better products, and build better businesses. So
thank you so much. Follow her on Twitter. She drops some incredible tweets. She shared one
once in a while.
Your venture can't run if you can't run. Your venture can't
right.
run. If you want some powerful wisdom that come in the form of tweets, follow her. Please follow her on Twitter. Thank you so much, TeLisa, for sharing your time with me. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with all the leaders out there. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to reach out to you. We're going to chat more. I'm looking forward to doing more. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Life and Money Talk. Please remember to connect with myself and our guest across social media platforms to keep these conversations going. Stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, wishing you life harmony now and always.